Today's youth need teachers, volunteers, and most of all, well, they need you. I'm Doug Edwards, and I'm going to be talking with real youth mentors and students to give you the knowledge you need to be the best youth worker possible. This is Youth Worker on Fire. So I'm watching a YouTube channel today. I was looking up from some pro sports and couldn't get to what I was looking for, but Bo Jackson's history came up, a little, short video on Bo Jackson's history, which is just amazing. If you don't know anything about Bo Jackson, you can look it up if you're not into athletics. But this is about people that are great that the world does know, and a lot of people know Bo Jackson. And so I want to tell you a little bit about him, but I want to tell you also, you are greater in heaven than Bo Jackson, but I want you to listen to this. Bo Jackson, dual sport legend. He's a unique achievement. Was Bo Jackson is the only athlete in history to be an all-star in both the NFL and the MLB, Major League Baseball. His NFL career, 1987-1990 Raiders, he was drafted by the Los Angeles Raiders in 1987 after bypassing Tampa Bay. The reason he bypassed Tampa Bay was they tricked him into coming there while he was still playing football for Auburn. And because they brought him out, I don't remember all the circumstances, you can look it up, he lost his eligibility to play his senior year at Auburn University, which he loved. And so he did not forgive the Tampa Bay Bucks. And when they tried to draft him, he opted out of NFL football. He's known for unmatched speed and power. He ran a 4.12 second 40-yard dash, still considered the fastest in combine history. And then he's famous for his 91-yard Monday Night Football touchdown run in 1987 and for trucking linebacker Brian Bosworth. NFL career ended early in 1991 due to a devastating hip injury, and you can see that one in the highlight video when they talk about his life. But just those things, they were amazing. But the unbelievable thing was that he went to the MLB, the Major League Baseball, first, and started with Kansas City and stayed there for most of his career. He wanted to prove a point that he was not going to Tampa Bay because of what they did to him, and they knew what they were doing. He was drafted in 1987 by the Raiders, but he was with the Kansas City Royals before that in 1986. And people went, I can't believe that he went with baseball instead of, he said, well, whatever you tell me that you think I'm going to do the opposite. You do not get to tell me who I am and what I'm going to be and what I'm going to do. So in 1989 in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, MVP after a leadoff home run and stolen base. And so that was why he was MLB MVP that game. Played for Royals, White Sox, Angels, known for tape measure home runs and highlight reel catches. But this isn't even touching what you would see in that highlight reel when they talk about his life. In fact, he's in a press conference after one of the games, and they said, well, how are you going to do this? Are you going to take off for part of the year with the Kansas City Royals so that you can, play your each year in football with the Raiders? He says, no. He says, everybody's aware of this. He said, I am committed to the Kansas City Royals. This is where I started. He said, this is my job. Anything else I do outside of the Kansas City Royals is a hobby. That's pretty bold and that's pretty cool. But this guy was just all that and much more, and a very incredible guy, a very humble guy as far as I could see. But the interesting thing with that was he was making all of these strides in the NFL, which is one of the most hardest sports you could play in life. And he was coming in without practicing around a third of the way or several, after several games had been played, not even practicing with the team, and would come in and make these amazing plays. I believe he averaged in the beginning of his career with them, somewhere like 7 to 8 yards per carry. And later it was 12 point whatever yards per carry, which is amazing in the NFL. But he was true to his, first career with the Kansas City Royals. And so his legacy was Nike shoes made, I don't know if they made billions at that particular time, but I know they made multi-millions, had to be hundreds of millions of dollars off of him because Bo was like the thing. And they started a campaign called Nike's Bo Knows campaign. And the commercial is on there. It's amazing. Now, why do I tell you all this about this athlete? Because when I saw it today, I thought of you. I thought of you as leaders and as people that are reaching out with the gospel of Jesus Christ to students, to teenagers and their families, and school systems, Christian school systems and public school systems, and all the different things that you're doing. And you are not getting that much recognition. In fact, some of your churches might even be treating you poorly. Not unusual in student ministries to see you as a secondhand hire, secondhand pastor. Maybe someday you'll be a senior pastor. Well, when I was trained by Youth for Christ, we were taught the opposite. You are at the highest level of pastorate, highest level of outreach and missions possible. You're reaching the students, the teenagers, the adolescents of our world, which the entire world is after, because they know if they can capture them in those years, the world knows in advertisement and in sin and everything else that they can keep them for a lifetime. In Ecclesiastes, it says, remember God in the days of your youth. Why? Because it's important, because it sticks with you forever, because you become an incredible feat. And I want you to know that heaven knows your name, and they're calling you out and they're cheering you on because they see the benefits of what is going to happen because you are sharing Jesus Christ with the adolescents of this world. Okay? Matthew 11:11, I want to tell you about this. Truly, I tell you, Jesus was talking, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than him. Jesus Christ, who says, I am, and I knew Abraham. I was there when the earth was created. He knew all of these people. He knew Moses. He knew, and the list goes on. He is saying John the Baptist is the greatest among men, born of women. But the kingdom of heaven, the least there is greater than him. And so I'm telling you this, those of you who are bringing people into the kingdom of heaven, that are bringing salvation to adolescents, are being talked about in heaven. You're not even being talked about. You're also being cheered on. Psalm 34:7 says, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. 2 Kings 6:16 through 17 says, don't be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Now, I'm going to tell you about Lee Strobel, who was on another talk show talking about his book about heaven and about people who, near-death experiences and also deathbed experiences, things like that, where they're talking about, they're seeing angels and things, but near-death experiences where they're coming back and going, here's what I saw, here's what happened. And also angel stories. He said almost no one talks about angels from the pulpit these days or anything because they're afraid that people think that they're crazy. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't, but we do here. You'll hear several angel stories if you listen consistently to this podcast, because I ask people about those stories because I know that they happen. But he's talking about a couple that was missionaries to this South Pacific island. The people of the island hated them because they did not want to hear about this Jesus who was messing up the things that they believed, and that they had control over their people there on the island. And so one evening they saw the natives were on the hillside surrounding their house, and they knew that they were coming to to kill them and to destroy their property. The missionary and his wife, they're both missionaries, the husband and wife who were missionaries, got on their knees and started praying out to God, and they prayed all night, and they said, Lord, protect us. We don't have any way to protect ourselves. If you don't protect us, they're going to come and they're going to kill us. And the night went on, and little by little, as getting near dawn, and at dawn, they saw the natives leave one by one and several at a time till there was no one on the hill surrounding them, but they never attacked them. And a year later, the head of that group and the head of the people there on that island came to know Christ through their ministry, and they said, what about that night? That night when you guys were going to come and you surrounded us and you were going to come and you're going to kill us. Why didn't you kill us that night? They said, well, how could we? You had these incredibly large men with white garments, with white clothing on, and they had these giant swords, and they were surrounding your place. There's no way we could overtake those people without getting killed ourselves. And they realized that the Lord had surrounded them, just as Elijah's servant got to see when Elisha said, Lord, let him see. Let him see what's around us here. Open his eyes. And so they didn't get to see, but the people of the island got to see the deliverance of the Lord. I want you to know that the angels are fighting for you, God's angel army. Remember, he is the God of the angel army. Jesus talks about those angel armies that could have delivered him. And I want you to know, when you are serving the little ones of earth, those that are helpless themselves, those adolescents, those teenagers, and their families, I want you to know that heaven is surrounding you and fighting for you against the principalities and powers of your area. The principalities and powers are who you're fighting against, not against flesh and blood. And heaven knows your name. They're calling out your name. When all of this earth passes and all the great presidents and warriors and Nobel Peace Prize winners and all those things are past, only those who stand for Christ will last, as it says, and only those who have brought people to the kingdom of God will be honored in a way, and you are going to be honored beyond your wildest imagination. Because Jesus said, suffer the little ones to come to me. Such is the kingdom of heaven. The little ones, the children, the elementary school kids, the preteens, the teens, the early college students. Those are the innocent ones of heaven. You said some that are really that old? Yes, they're the innocent ones of heaven. They're the ones being taken advantage of, and you are their warrior, and heaven is your warrior. Angel warriors are there for you. So remember, when you're discouraged this week, do not be discouraged, because God's angel armies are surrounding you. Hebrews 1:14, are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Hebrews 12:1, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Then the angel of God withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them. Exodus 14:19 through 20. I want you to remember those scriptures, or at least one of them. Pick one of those to be there for you, to remind you that it looks like nothing is happening, but in the spiritual world, which is surrounding you, the angel armies are fighting the principalities and powers that are against you. So remember to listen to us, and when you listen to us, to send this message out and each one of our episodes to someone you know in student ministry, whether they're volunteers or full-time youth pastor or fellowship Christian athletes director, Young Life, Campus Life with Youth for Christ, whoever it is, and whatever ministries are there that are reaching out to adolescents. Remember, Youth Worker on Fire is there to encourage you to go the distance, and God's angel armies are surrounding you. youthworkeronfire@gmail.com. Adios. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.